a brief interview based on the last hearing and what changes were made and was resubmitted to the board.
Okay.
I'm Austin Chardy with McKenzie Engineering Group. I filed the notice of intent on behalf of Brockton Ave Realty Trust for the 4-unit residential development at 380 Brockton Ave. Last hearing, we went over the project, the locus, and kind of the site constraints with the bordering vegetated wetland in the rear of the site. It was flagged by Brad Holmes of ECR. And basically, what came of the last hearing is that we wanted to provide the replication area that was previously approved based on the limit of wetland. So he prepared that wetland replication plan, which I'm showing here. There's an existing detention basin here, which is, it's kind of hard to see on here, but there's a basin here that was constructed. This is all wetland areas back here. So this is your limit of flagged wetland here, and it kind of wraps around the site. It's all low land off of Route 123 behind the properties that have been built up. So essentially what he did, we went out here, we shot the site topography and, the edge of the wetland essentially, and he's just proposing basically a plan here of clearing out some existing vegetation and replanting it with some red maples, some oak trees, some blueberry bushes, arrowwood shrubs, and dogwood shrubs, which is pretty typical native species. As far as the site plan went, we updated the patios in the rear of the site to add area drains. So we're capturing all that water and taking it into the subsurface treatment. So essentially no water from the structure, the parking lot, or the patios is going to go to the wetlands. It's gonna get captured and get taken up into the stormwater system in the front of the parking lot. And to accomplish that, we're proposing a retaining wall 2 foot off the wetland. So you can still have a limit of work there with silt sock to protect the wetlands. But so essentially the proposed retaining wall is gonna be is 2 feet off of the flagged bordering vegetated wetland, plus or minus, but 2 foot minimum, and it essentially wraps around the site to bring the grading up. It's gonna have a
2 foot minimum or 2 foot maximum?
2 foot minimum separation to the wetland line. So you're gonna have 2 feet at a minimum of a buffer between the wetland and the wall.
Okay.
And that's gonna have a guardrail on it. As part of the planning board review, they wanted to see some sort of separation there. So that just allows us to bring the grades up and kind of protect the wetland as well. So those were the changes that were made on the plan submitted to the commission.
No, our plans don't show that area. In other words, the plans you showed us do not show that wetland.
Right, so this is on a separate plan. This was the replication plan
Okay.
that was submitted by Brad Holmes. But it does tie in to this is,
Right,
this is the site, a zoomed out site plan.
If we approve, you will submit those.
Yep.
How many sets of plans they need?
And this was submitted,
I think 9.
9 copies were submitted. I have the cover letter here. So they went, who did I address it to?
Right, but what I'm saying is, on one of the copy I have here in front of me doesn't have, you just gotta make sure that
Yeah,
those plans, and however many copies that Tony will need for our file, I think she needs either 3, something like that.
Did you say 9?
That's.
No, 9 would be for us, included, but,
yeah, so you're referencing the right plans. Yeah, we can definitely get you
okay,
the correct plans.
all right, that
I
was,
have the updated cover letter if you want it for your records. It has
I
the
have
name.
that October 5th, 2021.
Yep. So
Right.
that references all the right plans that were resubmitted. We did submit 9.
Well, yeah, what I'm, we have a whole bunch of plans here, I just don't, we don't have that. If you look at site plan layout C1 that I have in front of me,
Right.
doesn't have that
Yeah, I know.
replication.
So that's part of like the civil plan set that you're looking at. This was submitted by the botanist. He just took our plan and worked off of
No,
it.
no, I understand that, but we don't have that area
Okay,
laid out here.
I see.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. And-
I got it by email and I could barely read it on
Okay,
the screen, and I'd really like to see that in front of me,
sure,
to see everything that's on there.
yeah,
I was able to make out part of it, like you have maples and et cetera,
right,
but
right.
they were, you know, the plan down there at the bottom, snatching that up, I could barely read it.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's exactly what he has to make sure that plan, not this plan that we have in front of us, that if
Is
we
it-
approve this, that's what's submitted.
Yeah,
I did give him, I don't know what happened, but it's not, this was submitted by the botanist, so, but it was submitted. I don't know, it was a separate, so it's not in that plan set, it would have been separate.
No, we have 9 sets here. You don't have anything with that on it?
No.
No, none of us have that particular page. We have a C1 page,
And within the plan set, yeah,
right, but we don't have that
okay.
replication
Well, I
shown.
can definitely get it to you then, and make sure it's in there.
Yeah, you have to contact Tony to see how many sets she needs,
Sure,
because we have to have those on file. Okay, with that being said, Jean had a question, hold on 1 second. Okay, she had mentioned earlier that the retaining wall should go along the entire back of the property, that's what you have now? Okay.
yep, so we do show that.
And you've already addressed you're gonna be 2 feet from the wetlands. Now, she just asking, do you have any plans of putting a fence on top of the retaining wall?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that did come up in the peer review that Norwood Engineering did, and we are proposing a timber guardrail essentially.
Okay.
But not an actual fence.
And I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it. Regarding the stormwater basin that will collect runoff from the parking areas, how often will they be serviced and maintained? Will Concom be able to review the property? Now, we have our new stormwater management committee, which they will be handling that, and I'm sure that they have their own conditions.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
It's quarterly essentially that
Okay,
gets
all
inspected.
right. But, and they will be subject to looking at the maintenance and so forth, not the conservation.
Yep, correct. So
Okay,
as part of the planning board submission, we did submit, a maintenance plan as part of that.
okay, that clears up those questions. Anything from the board, please?
Yes, is there any work currently going on the site?
No.
Any excavators or anything sitting out there, piles of dirt, or is that the different
Oh, I
property?
can answer that question. That's Gioso doing he has asked for permission and he has a file, a DEP number.
Okay, no, because I see silt fence out there, and I know he's proposing.
That's Gioso doing the sewer work under his DEP number.
Okay,
But he just, I think, did he ask you if he could use it? Okay.
okay.
But he's working under his own, because I inquired about that just for the reason that they came in front of us last meeting.
But you guys intend to put down the compost filter tubes when you guys do?
Yep, definitely.
Okay,
It's part of
good.
the limit of work.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Any other questions? Lynn?
I'd really like to see that with the replication plans. I feel like I don't have the data
Right.
to really ask good questions. I can see it looks like you're doing a 1-to-1 replication,
Well, essentially, it's gonna be 2-to-1.
2-to-1, okay,
Yep.
that's good, okay,
And our bylaws only call for 1-to-1.
Right.
Okay.
right.
Yeah, so that was from the previous, we carried that over from the previous filing so the numbers matched basically.
Right. Yeah, so I know like 2-to-1 is more ideal, just in case the plantings just don't go
Right.
well in a
Yep.
certain area. But yeah, I would like to see some more, because I'm curious, like, what kind of habitat is up there right now
Right.
that's gonna be modified? Things like what do you plan to do over the next 2 growing seasons?
Yeah,
When are you gonna plant things so that it's, maple, for example, I think it has to be in the fall.
yeah, it is detailed on some of, the actual inspections and when it should go in here. But I apologize, I was under the impression that you had it, so I guess that's my fault that you didn't get it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a narrative in here, but I'm not seeing.
Yeah, this would have been the latest plan that should have been submitted with these plans, so I'm not sure what happened there.
Okay, so not just that, but also a description of everything that is planned?
Yeah,
Along
so
with that?
it is actually on this, the proposed wetland mitigation tasks, it's part of the narrative of this plan, but so I don't know, we can submit it as also within the summary if we need to.
Do you want to have, okay, here's the situation, we can approve those plans, but you're gonna have to bring that plan up here so everybody can see it, see the
Yeah.
the
I can
plantings.
leave this too if that's easiest.
It's, because we can't, the plans that you have presented in front of us here, that we have in our hand, we can't approve those, but we can approve that plan if that's what you're submitting, if we can look at them. Okay. Take it to, that's, is that the replication planting?
Yeah.
Is it, and it shows the kind of plants and so forth right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so in that table, it shows the number of plantings. For this type of thing, you typically, you can give a detailed exact location of stuff, but it's better off to just, let the installer, the landscaper, do it as they go. But so those numbers will be captured in an as-built that would be submitted to the Conservation Commission.
Okay.
Brad would be out there.
Yep, so yeah, the botanist who prepared the plan will oversee this, and then at the end of the day, we'll submit an as-built as part of the COC of this project. But so yeah, if you, anything in particular, we can put it into the order. If, there's a certain number or a different type of species you'd like to see, that's no problem. This is just, this is typically what he prepares, the restoration plan and planting plan. So it's all native species, it's pretty typical for a replication area.
And in terms of what we're replicating, in terms of the soil type, hydrology, that is going to be taken from this area and put here, or are we gonna measure and see if they're very similar?
So this is basically, it's hydric soil where it is, you can see where the wetland begins and ends. So it's basically, what we're showing here is that area in green is essentially what he took to be the limit of the wetland. So what we're matching there and replicating is the area that was altered in 2005, essentially.
This area in red that was altered?
Correct. Yep. So that's basically, essentially what we're showing there is actually 4-to-1, but the new planting area is a new 2-to-1 area, just so to not get it confused with, old and new. It's just all gonna be new. And so it's basically the area in beige is what would be the new planting area, up to the limit of wetland essentially.
Okay. And what's there right now? What kind of?
It's just overgrown. There's some, it's some thorns out there.
So it's not
it's
like
wet.
mature trees or?
No, it's more
Anything like
shrubs,
that?
because it is disturbed land out there. There was a wetland basin, so you can see that it was previously disturbed. So it's young shrubs, basically, overgrowth.
Any problem with access to it?
No, they're gonna come in, basically there's a berm around that basin that you can get right out to it, so.
Okay.
And that's they won't really, there's not any earthwork proposed there, it'll be more clearing and planting. So it'll be very, minimal invasiveness or disturbance out there, which was part of his, goal was to not create more disturbance where it doesn't need to be. So, but it's, it's a functioning wetland, so it'll only improve what's there.
And will this planting for the replication be done before you start construction?
It probably depends on the season. It can be done before, but it would probably be hand in hand once they kind of get going out there. Maybe in the spring is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's because you plant now, there's a chance of losing them.
Yeah,
That's why I'm asking if you.
I think it would be in the spring they would do it.
When will you plan on starting construction, if these are approved?
Well, we have to get through the plan, well,
Yeah,
it would have to be spring.
it would be spring.
Okay.
By
All
the
right.
time we get done with the
All right.
planning board zoning, it'll be dead of winter, we're not gonna start anything.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
So
It would be-
it can be done either at the same time or before actual construction.
It can be done together.
Okay,
And if, that could be a condition if we wanted to do,
Yes,
a
that-
pre-construction site walk, just to go through, okay, what are you doing
sure.
out here? That's pretty common we see, so.
Yep.
Just
That
so
would
we're
be
all on the
fine,
same
too.
page.
Is that satisfactory?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can get it started.
Yeah, so in that point in time, you can have input too on, what you wanna see out there too, so.
And how is this gonna be monitored over the next couple of years to make sure that it actually, the plants are fine, they've actually taken, they're doing well?
So basically, when we file to close out the notice of intent, it would be captured then. So when we file for the COC, which we did for the previous project, you guys would inspect it, and if everything out there is dead or nothing was done, you'd say, all right, we're not gonna issue, certificate of compliance, and then you could enforce in order to do it, essentially, is typically how it would go. But in terms of monitoring it, it would be, maybe the 2-year, basically the 2-year planting seasons,
But-
if it survives the 2 seasons.
what we will probably do in the order of conditions is just ask you to notify us when the planting's done, so we can look at it, and then
Yeah.
look at it again to make sure everything's growing with the order of, with the,
Exactly, so you see it 2 times,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. That's why it's nice to get the replication started
As early as you can.
as early as possible. Then we can, look at the plants, and then,
Sure,
when the certificate of compliance comes through, we can look at it again, make sure that everything's growing.
I think that makes sense.
Okay? People happy with that? Any other questions from the board? No sense opening it up to the floor. Nobody here. Now, we're gonna take a motion, but you're gonna have to leave these plans with us,
That's fine,
okay?
and I'll get the
And-
copies in this week.
That'd be, yes, because this will take place of the C1 in what you have given us here, if you understand. These plans, are what you're gonna go through with the planning board and zoning and so forth, except, and you're gonna change C1.
I think it would make sense if we call this, not C1 and treat it as a standalone document, because it technically was prepared by a different ECR, Brad Holmes. And I know what you're saying, that the C1 on there is different than this.
Right, but you're presenting us with a plan that says C1, so
Right.
you would have to change that
We can call
now.
it,
Just, you can,
if we wanna call it B1 or something.
well, you already have a D1, you can call it a
How about
D5 if you.
R1 for replication.
Yeah,
Okay, R1,
Let's
that's
call it
fine.
R1, and
Yep.
we can resubmit it with that on it.
Okay. No, I can't change it, he has to change it. If you would. And we have, those plans have to go with Tony.
Sure.
Tonight,
Just call it R1.
and then you can, I'll put these with this right here. And then, this is what you want to take with you, and then you will bring in,
New copies.
right, just get in touch with Tony, find out how many she needs.
Yeah, I think I have her email, so
Okay. Anything else?
I think I will.
Should we make a motion to accept the plans as submitted for this project? And then if there's anything that has to be, if anything changes with the planning board and so forth, and any of this R1 has to come back in front of us, we would just have to do a new order of conditions. Okay? So, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the notice of intent for DEP file number SE 084-547.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck, and again, probably the end of the week, Tony, for the order of conditions?
Yeah, when we get that, maybe we can drop the plans off,
Okay.
copies, so. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, good luck. Do you want to take these and,
Correspondence.
Oh, we will in a second. But you wanna take this, and don't confuse this with anything else, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I take this?
Yep. Well, obviously I can. Next on the agenda, because of the meeting we were at with the planning board, SCO 84549 has asked for a continuance until they get through their next, they don't wanna set a date, but they would like to have an open continuance until they get through their next planning board, because everything's gonna change now. So if I could have a motion for that, I would appreciate it. Go
Should I
ahead.
read this out for the motion? I've never done this before.
Oh, okay, just, yeah, what you're basically gonna say is you wanna make a motion for a continuance,
Okay.
okay? go ahead.
Okay, I wanna make a motion for a continuance for SC 084-549, 75 Gale Street, filed by Rick Montgomery.
Right, for a future hearing.
For a future
Yes,
hearing.
very good.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But don't anybody leave, because we
Yep.
have to do the order of conditions for,
Yep.
Rochester.
okay, there were no building permits. We don't have any minutes.
No
Okay,
minutes.
there's no minutes. And correspondence, what we have for correspondence?
Sorry.
Okay, okay, this is from NSAFE. This is well, I'll read it. Pursuant to the requirements of the Massachusetts Contingency Plan, Commonwealth of Massachusetts Regulation 310 CMR 40,000, MCP, NSAFE Inc. has prepared the following public notice for Building Code Enforcement Official of Abington, Massachusetts. Copy of recorded notice of activity and use limitation on behalf of Rivers Auto, Inc., owner of the property at 810 Brockton Ave. NSAFE Inc. has provided the attached copy of a notice of activity and use limitations, which on September 17, 2021, was recorded into the deed of 810 Brockton Ave, Plymouth County, registered book and so forth, certificate of title, blah, 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 land registration office. Basically, he just filed with the notice with the registry of deeds for use and activity. I don't see anything concerning us here per se. You can look that over if you'd like.
Move on to that.
And now, we have to do the standard order of conditions for oh 84-547.
This is just, we're not voting on anything, so. I know.
And it'll be, on the work,
Those are the old ones, so if you want to buy them or not. The old 5.
no, okay, that makes it easy, yes. Okay, so, oh, do you have copies of these?
What is it?
Do you have,
Binder,
Yeah.
standard order of conditions.
Yep.
standard order of conditions, so you have it right there?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so,
Or,
oh, you,
okay.
no, you guys could take that.
We'll share.
Oh, here, everybody can have a copy.
There you go.
Oh, wow, look at that. Nice.
Okay, so the work line, we're gonna be, will be 2 feet on A1. And we're gonna have A1 through A6. drainage and runoff. B1. B2, 3, and 4 will be under the stormwater management. And we're gonna have B6. Flood control, I don't think there's anything involved there. Surface water, groundwater quality. There's no streams, okay. No, there's no D. Wetlands replication, okay. We're gonna have E1, E2, E3, E4, E6, did he give us the, I know he said it's gonna be 2 to 1, did he give us specific?
Yeah, the square footage is on that plan.
Okay,
Do you want the big plan?
yeah, the plan that we submitted.
I think it was like 2,300 and
Okay, this will be, what is it, Paul?
so you got 2,300 feet, square feet there, 2,300 and 2,300.
So it's gonna be 4,600 square feet. Proposed wetland replication area, 4,600 square feet shown on revised plan maps. R1,
R1.
and it'll be sheet, I think it's, whatever that sheet is when it comes in, fill that in, okay? E.
So that's 1,485.
Okay, the proposed. $1,485, okay, E8, $1,485. And $1,485 again, right?
Yep.
And E. No. E10.
What about E9?
Well, the replicated area shall be placed as near as possible. That's on the,
Yeah, he's put,
that's on the plans.
The value of the wetland species to replace should be of equal or greater value than that which is being removed.
Well, he already has it down as 2 to 1.
Okay.
Okay.
it's more than that, yeah.
Right, it's more than, he actually said it was more like 4 to 1. But, we're using it as a 2 to 1. That was in a previous, wildlife habitat, we don't have any of that. H, on-site conditions would be G1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put that down as 20 feet, that's our standard on G5, G6, G7. H2. H4. H5. H6.
then?
Well, H7 is now stormwater management.
Does that
That-
include the fertilizers and herbicides and pesticides? Part of it?
Well, there's no lawn. So, that wouldn't be,
Okay.
that's probably not resource. H8, if so happens, if he sells it while under construction. Okay, I1. I2A. I2B. I2C. I2D, which has already been done. There's no road. Okay, now special conditions, we had that. As far as the grading and so forth. But as far as special conditions, we have stated that planting, after the planting, they will submit and notify us so that somebody can go and look at the planting. And also, after or before the certificate of compliance is complete, it'll be looked at again, just for the plants.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that we mentioned? It was mostly the replication that we mentioned on the special orders.
Did we want to say anything, or do we need to say anything about the planting should start in the spring? Or
It'll start, okay, that was the other thing, planting will start weather conditions appropriate, when they start their construction, so it'll be sometime in the spring. Hopefully it'll be done maybe before, or just as soon as they start the construction. Okay, so that's in there too. And besides that, anything else that you can think of? Okay, we just need the forms to sign for the order of conditions. Do you have those forms?
Yes.
Good. All right, I think that's everything. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's good, thank you. Oh,